Hey everybody, welcome to Workforce Gaming. I'm Brad, here with Doug.
Hey.
Summer Games Fest, and all that encompasses is kind of in the middle. We just finished up the Xbox showcase this morning, in our time zone at least. So we just kind of want to talk a little bit about what came out of Geoff Keighley's opening, what came out of the Xbox, a couple other things that kind of got thrown out over the past couple days, because there's been some big things that have happened that I know I am really pumped for. And kind of almost getting that E3 vibe a little bit more. There's just kind of this like weekend or 5 days where it's just like, ooh, new thing, ooh, new thing, ooh, new thing, which I really missed.
Yeah, it definitely felt like more like a return of E3 stuff, because I think over like the last like 2 years, especially like mid COVID, it's just like a bazillion indie shows, and it's like really hard to figure out like, okay, what's the show I should pay attention to. And I do like with like Summer Game Fest, Xbox Showcase, the Capcom one, the Ubisoft ones, like here's the ones you should pay attention to. And even those kind of like those like indie ones kind of congealed a little bit better, so it's not just like 1,000. It's like I was actually going through the PC Gamer one. I was like, oh, actually there's some interesting stuff in here. And then through some of the other smaller ones, like it felt a lot more organized, and it felt like there's at least a theme for each of them, as opposed to just like a shotgun blast of just random games.
We randomly acquired this announcement for this week. And
yeah, exactly.
Don't ask why this is here. So so with all that kind of coming back together, and I think Capcom and Ubisoft have been pretty on the nose about a lot of it's going to be gameplay of things we've seen. They've mentioned more Star Wars gameplay, more Exoprimal game. They've mentioned lots of gameplay for the things they announced. So guessing that's going to be the case for those. So anyway, from these first couple shows, a few things that just kind of quickly stood out to us, and then we'll kind of talk through some of our favorites, but just short little quick things that popped out to us. That Prince of Persia opened for Summer's Game Fest. Really excited about that. I weirdly like the Prince of Persia franchise a lot. I don't really know why, and I couldn't point to you why, but just a new 2.5D, something happening in that franchise that's not a really crappy looking remake is exciting to me. So I'm happy to see that kind of keep rolling.
Yeah, I'm not been a huge fan of Prince of Persia. The thing that did give me like that did like go, oh, it's from the Raymond folks. I was like, well,
exactly.
Okay, well, now I was like, okay, now I'm interested, sort of thing. I think that was actually more the kicker than anything in the trailer. Just seeing something else from that team and they haven't been shot out back by Ubisoft. They're actually still working. It's great. Or sent to the Assassin's Creed mines.
Yes, exactly. Similar to that, just to kind of keep kind of that same vein, the Sonic Superstars, I think just again 2D Sonic is always fun. I think if they can do that well, there's going to be something good there, but who knows? It's Sonic, so it'll either be really cool like Sonic Mania, or it'll be something that we'll never speak of again in 2 months after it comes out.
Yeah, they've been really quiet about who the devs are on that one, and it's like very specifically, it doesn't seem like the Sonic Mania team. So it is still kind of like that. It's a little bit of the Sonic cycle stuff. It's like every time you see a Sonic trailer, it's like, hey, this looks cool. Everybody hold their breath. Just wait until it comes out. But I don't know. It actually does look pretty neat. My first impression was kind of like, but then actually when I read the trailer and saw it in like 4K, like on a close screen, it's like, actually, this actually looks pretty slick. I was surprised.
Yeah. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Couple other ones that I noticed. Still Lakes the Deep. Just the Chinese room is doing that one, kind of a weird horror thing on an oil rig, cool setting by the people who did Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, Dear Esther, one of the Amnesia games. Just, I don't know, I like that kind of stuff, so just interesting to see them kind of back at something, so hopefully that ends up turning out pretty well.
I'm waiting for I was waiting for the hook in that one. You know what I mean? Like it was like, okay, that's a cool, I got oil rig, it's not doing so hot. And title. I was like, okay, what's the and to that one? Because I think all their games have like a really nice, neat and like everybody's Gone the Rapture, Dear Esther. There's always like an interesting. It's not a twist. It's just like here's the concept and here's that little. Okay, let's just say twist on that concept.
Hook.
Hook.
I think
there
a better word.
Thank you. That's the right word. Yeah. I was waiting for the hook on that one. It did look cool though. Yeah.
Last one. This wasn't either show, but it deserves mentioning. It was in some other show. I think it might be Devolver or something. I don't know. But Shadows of the Dam getting remastered. Hooray!
I'm very
amazing.
happy for you, Brad.
Yes.
Yeah.
The weird 360 era Suda 51 stuff, I am a big fan of. So yay, Shadows of the Dam coming back for anything. But shout out stuff, quick things that you noticed before we get into the big, huge deals.
The real quick one, actually, I guess my quick shout out would just be the Xbox showcase of being like probably one of the best showcases that's been in years. Like to me, it was like it was rivaling some of the best of my favorite Sony ones. And you don't have to agree with it, but I just felt like I just felt like everything I saw, I was at least halfway interested. I think Elder Scrolls Online was
I'll give you that.
The only thing I was like hard out on, but everything else, like, I would at least try this. And a lot of this stuff actually looks pretty cool. So it just felt, I felt just completely how checked out I was with the PlayStation 1 and where PlayStation is going. This actually felt a little bit more like, I like the direction I'm seeing Xbox and the weird games that they're showing as part of their big Xbox showcase. When it felt like PlayStation would be the ones doing that, but instead they're showing these really safe Gen Z games. but yeah,
steal from those billionaires.
Yeah, but like I thought the really cool one was so one of the ones I know was Path of the Goddess, mostly because I thought it was Onimusha. And then
I did too.
I like that Capcom is now in a position I think Square Enix used to be in, is that when a logo goes up for like a game you don't know and then the Capcom logo goes,
you see Capcom.
There's a quick like deep breath like, oh, we're about to see something quite cool.
Oh boy. Yeah. Are we gonna see Final Fantasy 9? Are we gonna see Foam Stars? What are we getting here?
So that's why I said like Square Enix used to have. I think Square Enix has lost that of it, but Capcom hasn't. They're just always everything. Even it turns out to be a Monster Hunter trailer, I'm still a little bit excited. But the Path of Goddess looked really cool, and actually, the one thing I did kind of like about rewatching it actually seemed really, really early. There was no date on it, but I like seeing early stuff, even if it's like not coming for another 3 years. It's just something to be excited about down the road. And it looks like they're at least like, okay, we determined Onimusha is not the way we're going, but here's a thing that's kind of like that. Spirit. Yeah.
The spiritual successor type deal, where it's like, okay, you want Onimusha, but let's be honest, nobody could tell you the story or anything about the world at this point in Onimusha. It had that one really crazy opening cutscene on the PS2, and then you're just some samurai stuff with some demons, I think.
Yeah, and it's like, no, none of the kids are going to care about it, but like a new thing that kind of looks like that and kind of has some Okami-ishness to it. It's like, okay, all right, I'm listening, kind of thing.
Done and done.
And the other thing I really liked was the Fable. I kind of had an idea Fable was going to be there. I was kind of expecting to be like just tuned out to whatever Fable turned out to be. But it was just a fun, weird trailer that I didn't quite understand at first. Because it's weird because they show this big. You did not like the reveal that he was a giant talking at all.
It was just I don't understand and again I'm not a huge Fable person. I've tried all of them, I think, except for like the Kinect ones. And none of them have ever landed for me. And obviously Playground does really good stuff with the Forza Horizon stuff. But I was just like, okay, now it's a like Alice in Wonderland tiny person thing. Like, okay, why?
So it took me a second viewing the trailer to understand, because I thought like the plot of the trailer, I didn't quite understand, like, why is he the bad guy? But if you rewatch the trailer, when he's talking about a great hero, what they're showing you is you getting the mission to go kill the giant because giant vegetables or something are falling from the sky. But it's unsaid, but it's shown there. Like there's these giant, like we have to do something with these giant vegetables that are killing villagers. And it turns out it's this giant that is making these vegetable blah, 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 blah. And it's like just a fun, like little, it just looks so much more interesting than every other fantasy game that was shown for Summer Game Fest.
I agree. Like, I will give you that.
Yeah. There was a take. And I thought that was interesting. So those are my quick. Yeah,
because that was kind of my thought with Avowed, where it was just like, this is medieval fantasy. Okay, I'm sure it'll be great. It's Obsidian. They make good stuff. I'm sure they'll. But okay, I've seen this before. So at least it did give me that like, I don't really know if I feel about this, but at least you're doing something kind of fun, interesting, and you're having a take. Again, you're having that hook like we were talking about with Still Lakes the Deep. There's something here that could potentially separate you from being the Elder Scrolls clone that I feel like everybody kind of thought you were when you started Fable back in 20 years ago.
Exactly. I didn't feel like white noise ringing in my ears when I was watching the trailer like I do some of those fantasy games.
So a couple that I think we both agreed were kind of the two things that we were hard in on, really liked, were just fantastic. Final Fantasy VII, Rebirth, and Alan Wake 2. So let's start with Rebirth. I don't know if I believe anything in this trailer. Like, it's like they're and like you open with like them and like going to Shinra hospitals and planes and who knows what's going on and the whole, and then you're out in the middle of open world. I love that the entire purpose of this was like, you wanted Final Fantasy Remake? Guess what? You're not getting what you wanted, and we're gonna mess with you every step of the way. So enjoy your freaking ride that you've been begging for. And I think it's such a fun take on it. It's such a unique way to go about it. I mean, it looks incredible. It looks exactly like what I want. It looks big and open. Who knows, ultimately if it'll be that big and open world or whatever it'll be, but you saw a lot of cool things coming in from the original game, and it looks great.
It does. It looks really cool. I guess my only concern is that we haven't really talked about Jedi Survivor because I'm still struggling to get through that. The big thing I didn't like with Jedi Survivor is that it kind of went more open world, and then it was a different game as a result. I really liked how linear Final Fantasy VII Remake is. I think some people don't like that, but I really like linear JRPG. I'm a big fan of. So it opening up a little bit has me like a little hesitant, but I really, really liked all the changes they had made in the Yuffie DLC. And one of the big ones was the combo attacks. You're seeing that play out here, and I really, really like that. I think I'm going to get a little tired, though, of is it a multiverse? Are we in the right timeline? It's like, I think I'm just going to get I'm going to get tired of that, like, real quick.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just do the new thing. I just don't like the will they, won't they on the scene is like, is going to drive me up the wall. It's like, I just don't even mention it. Don't even mention the will they, won't they on these. Just like, just show me something new. And if it's, I don't know. I didn't like that. I actually did not like the teasing. I thought it was interesting. The what you're saying with them getting sent to the Shinra hospital or something, I thought was like really cool and kind of like, ooh, that's neat. That gives me something to think on. But then there's like 3 or 4 more moments where they're like, are we doing it or are we not? I was like, okay, the one moment was fine, guys.
Yeah. And I think the like just remake itself, I think did a good job of like not diving into that until you were too far in, because it was just more like, what are they playing with here? Like, oh, okay, they're just doing something different. And again, because you weren't necessarily, I don't think anybody was expecting him to go that hard against what it was actually supposedly sold as. Yeah. So I think you were probably 75% in before you really got into like, what's going on with this? What is this a remake? Are we going something? You had 3/4 of the game to just kind of enjoy, like, oh, look at this Final Fantasy remake. Ooh, here's an extended scene with Jesse. This is cool. Like, this is great. Let's do it. And then, but this, it's like, because you're starting from that point of knowing that they're screwing with you, I do feel like it's going to have a little bit of that tension in you as you're playing, like, oh, we're going here. But are we going here? Cloud said, but does he mean this? It's going to have a lot of that stuff, and I don't know if I want to deal with that for 40 hours.
And I think the game isn't going to be that because the first game wasn't. I think it's going to be 80%, here's a cool remake stuff, here's a 20% sort of twist on it. But they're going to say the 20%'s the hook that people really want. It's like, I kind of just want to see the remake stuff. I thought it was like a nice addition. Like, to me, those twist stuff was like a nice addition. And that's how it was kind of treated in that game, as opposed to like the main hook now, which is like, we're focusing this on being the main hook. I don't know if that's really the main hook. I think it's a cool thing you're doing, but not like what I want to see.
Yeah, and I think the question is going to be is, where does that 20% come in? Because if you do like pretty much flat out ignore it for the first 80%, and then again kind of you bring it in for that last 20%, I think that's okay, because you kind of get settled into, okay, I'm going through the motions of Final Fantasy VII. What's going to irritate me is if it's I play 5 hours, I get an hour of like, and then I play 5 more hours and I get but Sephiroth, and then
you're definitely going to get that.
Is he really going to do this scene? And that's what's going to get me, is it's going to be that constant like, okay, I just settling into Final Fantasy VII, I'm going through my motions, I'm going through all my places, I know what I'm doing, I know I kind of get in the rhythm. But it's like trying to screw with me the whole way through. That's what's going to get me, I think. And that is my concern with it. And again, I think just this being one of the early trailers, like, makes me a little nervous that I think they are going to like, that was the thing. That was the thing for this. So we're going to go all in and enjoy.
Yeah. I think the real hook is Golden Saucer, but they haven't gotten there yet. So.
Probably. 2 discs though. That's such a weird. That's such an old person thing.
So freaking brilliant, because so many games come on 2 discs now, and it sucks. And I thought it was really, really funny that they did it as a selling point. And this is like the only game, because it's going to be an installation disc. It's going to be a play disc. Every game, like a lot of games, come on 2 discs now. I think just that I made me gasp, but I was like, wait a second. Then the second later you think about it, you're like, wait a second.
Yeah, you think about it 5 minutes later, like, oh.
Yeah,
well, in 60% of people, 60% of people, it's just a big ass install file. Like that's all it is. You're not even getting a disc. You're getting a big ass download.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all it is.
Exactly.
So. But it did make me go, yay!
If they're
still have my giant ass.
If they're gonna play with it a bit, if they do an insert disc 2 moment, that would be really cool. Even if it's
that would make yeah. Insert disc 2 or click X if you own the digital version.
Yeah, but it was just yes. I think if they can recreate the moment of swapping discs, that was always a really big moment in JRPGs. That doesn't exist anymore. And I think that if they can kind of emulate that in some way, I think that actually would be really neat.
It was borderline as good as like finishing the game. Like,
sure,
it had that same feeling where you're like, ooh, this is like getting credits. This is like getting credits on Act 1. It's so good.
Yeah.
The other one I think that really stood out to both of us was Alan Wake 2.
Sure.
Which I was kind of surprised because I didn't realize you were all in on Alan Wake. Like I didn't realize that was a thing for you. Or is this?
Oh yeah, this is all pretty recent. I think did we do a review? I played it. I liked it. I played it fairly recently though. Like I played it like the last 3 or 4 years.
I think we both actually, now that I'm thinking about it, because I just played it like 3 or 4 years ago too. I think we both ended up like playing Control and like, I should go play Alan Wake again.
Yeah,
I think we both had that moment. But Alan Wake 2, I think they're doing it right. Is the thing I can say about Alan Wake 2. Everything they're doing is correct. Mm-hmm. Let's lean a little bit more into the horror. Let's give new players kind of this new person to kind of welcome them into a universe that I think is getting really, really lore deep and heady and just all this kind of stuff if you factor in Control and Alan Wake and all this stuff in between. And it feels like everything they're doing is the perfect decision to where to move this franchise to.
Sure. I think the one thing with like Alan Wake, I don't think anybody's nostalgic for that gameplay. I think whenever anybody talks about Alan Wake, that's not the thing they're talking about. They're thinking about like the cool atmosphere, the this, the that. So it is really funny, I think, with some games, like I'll say Sonic, people are so mad the physics are even slightly wrong. And then with Alan Wake 2, everyone's just like, change everything. Just change whatever you want.
Please.
Maybe include the flashlight. That was kind of fun, but like most of it. The thing was, as Alan Wake 2, I wasn't super impressed, but it just looked like Evil Within 2, which, like, not even saying that is a bad thing. Like, I just love Evil Within 2, and I think in Resident Evil 2, like those like sort of modern survival horrors, it just looks like they're like, hey, let's just do that, and it's like, okay, great, like that's awesome. I really do like that. Although I haven't seen enough of. I think the gameplay was cool. I don't think I've seen enough of the weird narration-y kind of stuff that makes, like, to me it's like, okay, they're telling us the gameplay is gonna be fine, but I want to see more of the weird narration stuff that I associate with Alan Wake that I feel like I didn't really see.
But I feel like that's almost the point, is because at this point I think with Remedy that's going to be there, so they're going,
fair.
Hey,
yeah,
your hesitation on this is this going to be that old Alan Wake janky gameplay?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no. See, look how good this looks. Look, we kind of changed everything. We moved the camera a little bit. We did
Yeah.
We made it survival horror. And then, okay, we still have Alan Wake narrating over this in his cryptic tones and like all of this stuff. So you're like, okay, I trust you on that part. The
That's
part I'm hesitant on, you're showing me we fixed it. We've got this covered. We're good. So I'm a little bit more too where it's, I don't quite understand the story. I don't know what we're doing. I don't know where we're at. That kind of thing. I played the Alan Wake Control DLC, which was good, I think. I honestly don't even remember much of it.
Yeah, the hook that they're going with is interesting, and it's kind of it's a major plot point of Alan. It's not a major plot point of Alan Wake 1, but it's something that happens in Alan Wake 1. During the course of Alan Wake 1, an FBI agent disappears. Let's just put it lightly. He disappears. And then they're investigating that FBI agent's disappearance. And Alan Wake is just kind of like a side thing. That's not like, they're not there to investigate Alan Wake. They're there to investigate the disappearance. The really cool thing, though, I was reading online that's really fun, is that the character Sam Lake plays, who is the original face model for Max Payne.
Max Payne!
Yeah. So what's funny, in Alan Wake, that character is a parody of Max Payne. So there's weird circular logic stuff with that. That was really fun. So that's what I'm more interested in.
It's chugging painkillers in the back corner.
Yeah, maybe that'd be. I mean, they're gonna do that. Rowdy loves the references. There's gonna be so many notes you pick up that are gonna be talking about Mr. Payne and all this other stuff. So, yeah. No, I'm excited for it. It does look cool. I think they got some big boots to fill though with RE4, RE2, and Evil Within 2. Like, good luck, guys. Like, try to even like compete.
I mean,
with those games.
even Dead Space came out this year.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Survival horror is like back in a big way. I think in the last 2+ years, and I think going that route, I think they're seeing the success of those, and all of those are again returning franchises. They're franchises coming back after a 10 or 20-year hiatus.
Yeah,
Resident Evil aside, because that's a consistent thing for eternity. But
which is insane. Yeah,
it's just, but it's interesting. I'll be curious to see it. I'm excited. I'm pumped about it. Everything. Like I said, it's just you're doing it right. You're doing everything right. So good work, Alan Wake 2. So our individual kind of top 3 here, things that we saw. We'll just kind of run through here. So number 3 on your list of things that you saw that were not Alan Wake and Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah, I think the things that always attract me the most are things I haven't seen before, or things I see rarely. And so my number 3 was Jusant. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know.
That would have been how I would have gone. So
yeah, it was really cool because I actually thought it was. When it started, I actually thought it was the new game by the guys who did Ico and Shadow of the Colossus and stuff. It just had that like
it does have that look,
that look and that tone, and I was just like, oh. And then it wasn't, but I was like, if it's got me that excited, just the idea may even be like playing in that realm. I was really excited. It just seemed like it had a really interesting gameplay mechanic of where you're a kid climbing up a mountain, but it seemed like you were actually placing. Oh my god, I don't know what those things are called. Those pegs in the wall that have the line, that your line and stuff. So it looks like this like really interesting mechanical thing, and they show the kid kind of running around. It looked a lot like Rhyme with like these like really cool like you're gonna do some puzzle stuff with this really cool ancient tech stuff. It just stood out to me as like, oh, this mechanic seems interesting, and this world doesn't seem it also seems like it has an interesting sort of idea to it. So that's why I just liked it. I just like anything that's like even slightly different. I'm just more interested in. It stood out to me. Yeah.
So I was really confused why this was even on your list, and now listening to you say all of that stuff, it's like, oh yeah, nope, okay, I'm interested in this because it does. Yeah. I didn't even think of it having that like Team Ico feeling of where it's like just this kind of quiet, desolate world that you're kind of exploring, and there's weird things in it, and you're just kind of getting like a little text drop here and there, but it's really fun to that. Okay, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, the
top 3 allowed.
That's fine. The don't nod thing I thought actually made me more hesitant though when that popped up. I was like, oh, okay, no,
that's not.
Okay, now we're throwing the 7
not a
or
good
8
thing.
dice. Yeah, it's not a great thing. It is a weird.
Not a good thing unless it says "Life is Strange" in front of it.
Yeah.
My number 3, much more well-known game, MK1, Mortal Kombat 1.
Sure.
Honestly, I love Mortal Kombat. I'm a huge Mortal Kombat person, and it looks incredible. I love seeing a little bit more. I liked that initial reveal trailer, but seeing more of it just now, I really like the hard reboot that they're doing, soft reboot that they're doing with it, where it's just we're back to much more grounded settings. That fight and like the mansion with the pool in the background, insane looking stage, amazing. Just kind of like just a bar fight, just things we got so far away from in Mortal Kombat, where it's like everything has to be a crazy different realm, and we're on the moon or we're in space and in hell and all. No. Kick-ass bar fight between like 2 people walking into somebody's mansion and doing all this. It reset the setting there, and the cameo thing is super interesting to me. I don't know why.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, like, what is your hook for Mortal Kombat in general? I'm always surprised that you're like super into Mortal Kombat compared to just like other games, because like these like hyper violent fighting games, that's like I definitely peg you for. So especially when we're talking about fighting game mechanics, like the cameo system, like what are you talking? We never review fighting games on these things on these podcasts, but you're like, I love fighting games. Yeah,
I do love fighting games, but it's one of those like, for whatever reason, not neglectful but poorly informed parents. Like I started on fighting games, like
sure.
Mortal Kombat 3 was like it was like Super Mario World, Mortal Kombat 3 when I got my Super Nintendo. I got my Sega Genesis, it was Street Fighter 2, Sonic the Hedgehog. So it's just like one of those things where like for as long as I've been playing games, like those are like the staples that are just there, and I'm not good at them. I will play 5 matches online, get my first little like you did online trophy, and then never touch it again. Play through the story mode 2 more times, but it's just they're a fun 10 to 15 hour diversion for me, and it's just a fun like almost like a like a Trials or like one of those instant restart games.
Sure.
Where she's like, oh yeah, I just popped in, played 5-10 minutes, enjoyed it. But the cameo system, I think, is just a really unique take on tag team combo building, just because the way they were kind of selling it is it's not a tag in where you're coming in, but it's just you just hold a button and it's an added move set. So you don't have like an extra kick button because, okay, we already have 2 or 3 of those. We already have 2 or 3 punch buttons. We have no, this button just calls in this person, and then you get like 4 combos with them. It's just kind of an interesting twist on it. And I think, not that they're stagnant, because they're not, but fighting games in general, I feel like I've gotten so hard into like the new fancy thing is a new meter. Yeah. And that's the new thing in a fighting game where but now it's just going, no. It's a way to extend a combo. It's a way to play just slightly different and give it a different wrinkle than I think anything else has done. Because again, most of them I feel like it's, okay, there's a new meter, or now there's new finishing moves, or there's new EX move. Like it's that kind of thing. But the base concept has always been the 4 or 6 buttons with some diagonals in it from your control stick. So that to me is what really stuck out about it, was just this cameo system. And again, just the world of Mortal Kombat kind of resetting a little bit was, I think, really well done and really showed well in the trailer. Like really like inexperienced, like who the hell is this Raiden was really fun to me. Just like Raiden, just like, I'm just a farmer out here with my lightning powers.
And you just know he's gonna have the moment of like where he's like remembering. It's like, what am I? Sort of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. It's fun. It's like B-movie story and with fun combat games. So I'm excited about it. But your number 2.
Yeah. South of Midnight. This is the whole thing with the Xbox stuff, which just kept showing me stuff. It's like, wow, this is exactly where I want to see games go. It's like, show me something new, do something cool with the tech. And the South of Midnight just really stuck out to me because first it looks like a stop motion, which is I always think is a really, really daring way to go because it just doesn't look smooth. Because we all want our 60 frames per second.
I actually had that concern when it started. I was like, oh no, okay, on purpose. Yeah,
but then they nailed it like so well that they did. It looked very puppety, which is like, oh, that looks really, really cool. And I really like. It just was like a setting you just haven't really seen. This is gonna sound really dumb. I'm just like not attuned to a lot of stuff. But like
it's like a Mafia 3.
Sure, yeah.
Where like Mafia 3 was had that same thing where it was like the selling point was New Orleans, and this kind of had that same like South Bayou, like that type of thing.
Yeah, and like in mixing in like some like folklore stuff that I was not necessarily not really just don't know that well. So it's just this really, really cool. And I love the music that was in that trailer. Yep. I just love this idea of like a demon. I always love the demon hunter who knows, or like, ghost hunter or whatever, who just knows other ghosts and they're like trying to like get information from them. It's like, hey, you owe me one, to this like gigantic thing sitting on the roof that looks really terrifying. It's just like, I just really, really loved this is the type of fantasy settings that I like. Like this sort of, I like modern day stuff. I like modern day fantasy. I like when fantasy is not just, we really, really like Lord of the Rings and, we're doing our magical fantasy stuff. That there were so many games that looked
like Skyrim sold so many, that kind of thing.
They all look like Dragon Age instead. But
so my question for you is that it was my one thing with this. Compulsion Games, known for those really good We Happy Few cinematic trailers.
You know what I thought? I don't know what the name of the group is. I thought it was the Gears 5 team at first, which has a very similar name. It's not the Coalition, but it's like something.
The Initiative, the Coalition,
something like
Coalition.
That.
I think is somebody like
Yeah, but I thought it was the Gears 5 team. I was like, holy crap, this is going to be amazing. And then I did Google later and realized it's the Happy Few. And I was like, oh shit. And the other game they did was it was like a PS4 launch game where you're like jumping in shadows. It's like a neat idea, but didn't quite. They have like these really cool ideas, and so when you just see the cool idea, it's like, oh, this looks awesome. When they like, we'll see on the execution side, but maybe now because they're owned by Microsoft, they can get some help. I don't know. They can get
some help, and
it will drop
again,
down significantly when I see the gameplay trailer. But just
I do think that might be a theme based on where I might be going with one of these. But because that was my one thing is I saw Compulsion Games and I immediately I knew because I was pretty excited about We Happy Few. I thought that was going to be very, very cool. So it was one of those names I had just ingrained in my brain. So I saw that and I had that instant oh no, you need to prove to me we got something before I'm getting excited about another one of your things.
So I went in with holy crap, the Gears 5 team, which I don't know if we did a review for Gears 5, but I love Gears 5.
Gears 5 is great. Gears 5 is fantastic. I actually wanted to go back and play that the other
day. yeah, it's stupid good. So that's kind of how I went in. So I just kind of rode that high until I Googled later. So I was just kind of this is the high that I was feeling at the time.
Yes.
We'll see though.
It's just
as a concept, We Happy Few is also a cool concept. So let's leave it there.
There you go. Yep. Mm-hmm. And moving on. My number 2, the formerly known as Yakuza, now known as Like a Dragon franchise, because we got 2 trailers for 2 games that both look perfect and flawless, no notes, everything exactly what needed to happen. So Geoff Keighley at Summer Game Fest had Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name, which is Kiryu in between 6 and 7. And again, at this point, Kiryu's well known to be alive and well during that period, which isn't necessarily the case at the end of 6. But it's basically this weird side story. It's where is he at? Where was he doing? The end of 6 kind of leaves it very open-ended. Yeah. And it's classic Yakuza. You're getting the brawler gameplay, and the brawler gameplay looks so good. Yeah. I just played through the Lost Judgment DLC, and it's kind of okay, yep, I'm button mashing, but man, does this look good. And you get that weird little whip thing. I don't know what that was, but
it was so funny because I think there's a part where he's trying to protect a young woman and he gets surrounded by guys. I was oh man, just classic Yakuza. It just felt like just such classic Yakuza setup of
and
Kiryu's on his own. He has to go protect somebody, and I'll bet things go sideways.
And he literally is if you want to start it, let's go ahead. That type of stuff. And it's just, I think what actually made this, initially I saw it was yep, cool, and no big deal. But then they had the trailer for 8 at Xbox Showcase, which is now Infinite Wealth is the name of that. And what did it for me is just the complete opposites of where this franchise is going. You've got Kiryu in the side game who's doing the serious Yakuza business, and you got Ichi waking up on a beach naked, just what the hell happened to me? And it's just, I love this series so much because you can have both of those moments in the same games, and I almost liked it. It's okay, we know we've got those people who want Kiryu being his Kiryu self, oh, this is serious business. And I think that was the fun of Like a Dragon or 7, where it was Ichiban is such a different character and just so much more of a goofy, fun guy. And now we're going, okay, we can have both. We can have both of these Like a Dragons, and they both looked great. The thought of moving it out of Japan is very fun and very interesting. Those people started speaking English. I was really, we're going to have to think, oh no, we don't have the English voices on.
Yeah. I love that Yakuza 8 trailer, or that whatever it's called, Infinite Wealth or whatever. I think that trailer is so confident in knowing what Yakuza games are and what the audience wants to see. And I think you're totally right. Where the audience is I don't even know if it's 2 camps. It's people who just appreciate. I think if you like Yakuza games,
that's probably true.
You like the serious stuff and you like the goofy stuff. So it's such a confident trailer of such a dumb scene that's just but like you said, it's oh shit, he might be in Hawaii. That is incredible. It's just it's no news at all. It could be a cut. It's a 1 minute cutscene. And that's totally out of context. And all you have to know is Ichiban is back. He's still a little silly. And now we're in Hawaii. It's very little information. It's this is going to be amazing. Just very excited. Yeah.
And if you played Like a Dragon, part of the initial thing is he just gets dumped in a city. And he's I don't really know what I'm doing here. And it's the same setup of oh, I don't know what I'm doing here either. Let's go again. So I don't know. It's just, it's so much. They're so much fun. They're so great. It's a series that I think has grown into one of my favorites over the last 5 to 10 years. I don't know how long I've been playing them at this point, but just so good. But your number 1.
Yeah. I didn't even write down the full title. I forgot what the full title is. But the game, this was, to me, this actually made me realize where I put Persona on my like list of games I like. This game is Metaphor. I think it's like ReFantazio.
2 more words.
Something weird.
Something like that.
Something weird. But I was so much more excited for this than Rebirth. Like, just immediately way, way, way more excited. So what this game is, it was announced after Persona 5 came out that the Persona 5 team had moved on to work on this game called ReFantazio. We got an image 5 years ago of just some elf girl. And it's like, okay, whatever, cool. In that time period, I played Persona 5. Really, really liked the game. And there's always these things I really hated about it. I don't like that it was set in a high school. I didn't like he did all this high school stuff. I was not a huge fan of how much the game is set in the real world because all the best stuff is in these fantasy mind palaces. And this game just looks like, it's just all my favorite parts of Persona. It's just like, it's just that. It's just my favorite parts of Persona because it's like, and again, like talking about like I like a unique fantasy world. And like, I rewatched this trailer like 2 or 3 times and like every single thing about that was just like so wholly unique of just like stuff I just never seen before. And just seeing that team working outside the confines of the Persona IP and even the SMT. I mean, there might be some SMT stuff. It might just end up being an SMT game. I don't know. But it feels like they were working outside of the standard, box that IP puts you in. So it was just really, really, really cool looking. Just very exciting. It just like, and it was interesting. They did like a little tease. Like he shook somebody's hand and it showed like the friend link from Persona, which I hated. I hate that stuff in Persona. But I was like, actually, I didn't hate that necessarily. I just didn't want to hang out with high schoolers, like hang out some like weirdo, I don't know, fantasy person. Like that looks okay. That actually is interesting. And I was like, actually, I really like those mechanics that were built into it. Actually, this is shit. This is like, it's like everything I liked about Persona without all the stuff I didn't like. And I was actually looking for a place to pre-order it. And I was like, okay, where's the PlayStation 5 announcement? It's got to be out there somewhere. They haven't announced this for PS5 yet. But apparently Atlas is like known for holding on stuff until like saying what consoles they're on.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this was like, I realized like, it's like, I think this actually might be just like my favorite JRPG series or thing. Like and just the fact that it's like a fixed Persona 5, I just immediately was like, I don't even care about Persona 6 anymore. Like it's done. Like nothing. I don't care. Like I'm sure Persona 6 is going to be great, but like this completely fixes everything. This is like exactly what I wanted from this team and what I wanted from this series. So just like dream, it's like literal dream game moment. Was really exciting. Yeah. So
nice.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't.
I know you don't. I know. It's. I get it.
It does look incredible though. I will say that it's one of those things we're just watching. It's like I'm not gonna like this, but man, I wish I would.
Yeah, and you actually played like more. I think you played actually more SMT games than I have.
SMT 3, SMT 5,
yeah.
the last 3 Personas, and I have made it. I made it through both SMTs, but didn't care for either one, and I made it like no more than 10 hours in any Persona. Just it's not my thing. I don't know why, but
yeah. Yep.
That does look cool. I wish it was. If they could knock out a bunch of the stuff I don't like, I'd be on too.
I'll let you know during my review.
There you go. The obvious best game shown for the next. It is currently 10 p.m. the day of the Xbox showcase. I will retract all of these statements after the Ubisoft conference, but very clearly based solely on that cinematic trailer. Star Wars Outlaws.
Yeah.
Easy. Best game in my brain right now.
Sure.
They will show it at the Ubisoft thing. It is made by the team that made the Division games. It will be a mess of icons everywhere and things to do and weird kind of co-op, and I will hate every aspect of it. But right now, that CG trailer is my current most anticipated video game in the world. Before I've seen anything with it, and then it will drop down that list tremendously.
Yeah, Division 2 is a cool game too. That's a good team if they can do it.
Yeah,
if there's not Ubi junk, that could be legit awesome.
Yes, it could, and that is my fear: is that it is going to be so much Ubisoft junk in there that it's like, oh, I can't do it. I can't even power through the main story, like that type of thing. Because I played like 2 or 3 hours of Division 2, and it was very fun. And it was just like, I don't even know which one of these things I'm actually supposed to be doing right now.
Yeah.
They are all here. They are all telling me to do it, and I don't know which one's the right one.
Yeah.
But the gist of it, between Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, cool unexplored time period. You're kind of involved in these crime syndicates, which I love. Grimy underworld Star Wars. I think Mandalorian season 1 kind of nails that a lot with like the really hardened focus on bounty hunter, and then we got way too hard into Clone Wars with Mandalorian. So I think that really focusing in on that, just kind of playing that kind of scoundrel smuggler role that, Han Solo kind of is the embodiment of. And obviously the new character Kay is nowhere near Han Solo, but just kind of embodying that persona of that Star Wars grimy underworld life is just really fun. You kind of have that classic, we'll give you one last job type look. And just again, CG trailer, so take it for what it is, but kind of the environments you're going through. There was some cool space looking stuff in there. You saw lots of classic original trilogy ships in there. Just a really, really well done looking Star Wars world in the type of Star Wars worlds that I like, where it's not but the Jedi and here's 16 Jedi in it. But no. Here's just cool grimy space. Give me grimy space stuff.
Actually, the thing I really liked about the trailer is how it looked Star Wars, but how a lot of it wasn't immediately recognizable. Like they're shooting TIE fighters, like, oh, okay, yeah, but like I'd say like 70% of that trailer, to me at least, was not like, oh, it's like, oh, it looks Star Warsy, but it's like they're doing their own kind of take on this stuff. And I was like, oh, that's always the best as far as Star Wars gaming goes. Like that's always the best stuff, is like when it's like we're going to kind of
Star Wars in
own.
General.
Yeah, sure, yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
I mean, you didn't have the scene that I would have like dreaded, which is, the last scene is you just hear the ching and a lightsaber pops up there in the end. And you're like, so God damn it.
Yeah.
We just avoided that. I think there's one shot of a person in carbonite that I believe is obviously supposed to be Han Solo. So you kind of get that connection in there. And that's really like where we leave it in terms of known Star Wars stuff, which I think I will take that back when somebody points out that one of these characters is a major character in the one offshoot show that I haven't watched. But
yeah, exactly. Or it's full of comic characters or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly, which it probably is. But again, I reserve the right to retract all of these comments about this being an amazing game after we see gameplay, because I'm very worried. I think this is my most anticipated and most feared game all in one.
Sure. Yeah. I can see it where like it looks amazing. It's like, and now my buddy John is joining me, and it's
hey guys, want to team up this afternoon?
Yeah.
I just completed the level 37 raid on Tatooine.
Exactly. I could see,
and I will be balled up on my couch crying through that moment. Or it'll be the like, and we walk off your ship onto a new unexplored planet, and as we see in the HUD, look at all the fun things you can go do. It's like, no, give me the one marker where the person I need to talk to is. That's what I want, because they have already said it's open world, which initially makes me think like, which initially I go to like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and it's just like, but look at all the planets with all of the markers. There were all those islands with the markers, and people liked that.
Yeah. Good luck. I wish you luck. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Gonna need it, I'm sure. But anyway, that is Summer Games Fest, the Xbox thing. Hopefully Capcom and Ubisoft still have some cool stuff going on, and obviously more announcements. I think like Annapurna has a show later on. I do think there's a few more publishers that have things, but these are kind of the heavy hitters that we just kind of wanted to run through really quick.
Nice.
But we are Workforce Gaming. We try and get new videos out every Monday. Please subscribe to our channel, leave a comment, and we will see you later.
Bye.